Hello everyone, Lorenzo here, and in this video I would like to talk about my two favorite series on iRacing at the moment. I've been racing this series back to back in 2024 Season 1 and I've been having probably the most fun I've ever had on iRacing. Those of you who watch my streams and my videos know that I'm a huge fan of close bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel racing, big packs of cars, long lasting battles, and these series definitely provide that. So whether you're a beginning or an experienced driver, make sure you stick around to find out what my two favorite series are at the moment and why that is. And please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're not yet subscribed but you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. My Discord and all my other links are in the description. Without further ado, let's talk about the first series. On the open wheel side, my favorite series this season has been the Formula 1600 Trustmaster Trophy. This is a D-licensed series, so relatively easy to access, even for most new iRacers. It features 20-minute open setup races which are hourly. Why do I love this series? First and foremost, it's a great series because the car that races in it, the Ray Formula Ford or FF 1600, is an extremely fun car to drive and also to race. It's a junior formula car with no downforce and no assists, so you really need to get your braking, turning and exits right to ensure that you keep the car running with as much momentum as possible going into corners. It's a car that you need to drive in a raw mechanical way. And this is extremely valuable because it's not just really fun to drive the car in this way, but it also teaches you good habits. That's exactly why it's a junior formula car. It's a car that's designed to be a learning tool to develop very early career drivers. The force feedback in this car model is great. With the right settings, you can feel extremely well when it's going to oversteer, and it really gives you the chance to react and to fix your mistakes, for instance by using some throttle to restore the balance of the car. Catching slides in this car is not particularly hard, especially with the right pedal inputs. It's one of these cars that really teaches you to drive with your feet and other techniques that are extremely valuable even later on in your iRacing journey. It's for that reason a great car to try at least once or at least for a few races. And due to the fact that this car leaves you with a larger margin of error compared to other cars, it actually makes it extremely fun to push it to its limit, to put it into a slip angle, and to try things with it without constantly wrecking or without getting frustrated. It's just such a fun car to drive. And then of course, racing in these cars is so much fun, and that's for multiple reasons. So they're not particularly fast cars, so to race other cars closely is much easier. This makes for some unbelievably fun battles on track. You can go entire sectors racing wheel to wheel or bumper to bumper against your opponents. The cars are quite slim, so it's quite common to see cars going 3 or 4 wide into corners, especially in the early laps of each race. So this means that it's also an absolutely great series to hone your racecraft and to get used to battling other cars on track. The draft in these cars is quite strong, so on long straights you can try and catch up to your opponents and try and overtake them, and it makes just for some incredibly fun battles. And that for me is what makes a series so much fun, is having those battles on track and not ending up with huge gaps to other cars and driving alone for most of the race. And of course, with a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing come fairly frequent incidents. It's not uncommon to see some pretty big incidents in this series, which in my opinion makes things quite exciting, especially of course if you manage to steer clear of these incidents. And so it's a great place to learn accident avoidance, and it's not uncommon to grab freebies in these races as well. So consistent driving is often rewarded, which is very satisfying. And finally, another reason why I'm just enjoying this series so much, and I believe I will enjoy it even more in the future, is that it will be one of the series that's going to be rain enabled on iRacing, and I am so extremely excited to continue racing this series in Season 2 2024 when the tracks are going to be wet. And for those of you who prefer tin tops, closed wheel cars, my favorite series this season has been a GT4 series. So there's two series here that have to be mentioned. the D-Class Falcon Tire GT4 Challenge, which offers a 15-minute fixed setup races every second hour. And then in alternation to those races, you of course have the C-Class Falcon Sports Car Challenge. 30-minute races with multi-class, with LMP3 cars on the track as well. Now, again, why do I enjoy this series so much? Because these cars do have some downforce compared to, for example, the GRD6 or the MX-5, but still require quite a lot of that mechanical grip style of driving, which in my opinion gives it a bit more of a raw style of driving compared to, for example, GT3 cars. Getting a perfect lap in these cars is extremely satisfying. This car does have assists such as ABS or traction control, and it is a fairly forgiving car class, which means that you don't need to put in a lot of time to practice. You can get consistent fairly easily with these tracks and come close to race pace without practicing a ton, but unlocking the final tenths, unlocking the final seconds in some cases with these cars can be extremely difficult. So I feel like these are great both for beginners but also for more experienced people. There's a challenge for every level. And of course, we need to talk about the racing as well. The racing in this series is always close, fun, competitive, and it's a great place to hone your racecraft and also your accident avoidance. And what I love about racing GT4 cars is that you can easily switch between racing the fixed setup series, 1 hour, and then the hour after, racing the open setup series also with the LMP3s. It's the perfect entry point to be introduced into multi-class racing and learn how to race and stay safe while being swarmed by LMP3 cars. Essentially, no race is ever dull in GT4 cars. It's always fun, battling, incidents. The multi-class adds that extra bit of action, that extra bit of intensity. You never really get bored in this series. And so for these reasons, these have been my favorite series to race on iRacing in 2024 Season 1. Of course, this is a completely subjective opinion which can change for everybody, so please let me know in the comments whether you agree with my observations, and also let me know if you disagree, and let me know what are your favorite series to race at the moment. I would love to hear from you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, consider subscribing. Again, all my links are in the description. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.